Why did the Grim Reaper win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field of corpses. Now imagine this for a moment. The Grim Reaper, the ultimate harbinger of death, wakes up one morning, stretches out his skeletal hands, yawns through his hood, and decides, I need a day off. He hangs up his scythe, puts on a do not disturb sign, and settles down for a quiet day at home. This, of course, throws the world into utter chaos. Because when the Grim Reaper takes a day off, no one can meet their untimely or timely end. Picture, if you will, a group of extreme sports enthusiasts, those daredevils who laugh in the face of mortality. They're out there bungee jumping off skyscrapers, skydiving without parachutes, and trying to outdo each other in a game of who can eat the most ghost peppers. But no matter how reckless they get, they just can't seem to shake off their earthly coil. In the end, they're left with nothing but severe indigestion and some rather embarrassing YouTube videos. Then there are the elderly folks at the local retirement home. Old Joe has been saying he's ready to kick the bucket for the last 10 years, but on this day, even his most dramatic coughing fit fails to do the trick. And let's not forget about Ruth. She's been waiting to give death a piece of her mind since her husband passed. But, alas, she's left waiting in the wings, her carefully prepared speech going to waste. And what about the dangerous animals? The lion at the zoo has been eyeing the zookeeper with a hungry look for years. But today, despite his best efforts, his lunch continues to wave at the crowd, completely unharmed. So remember, folks, even the Grim Reaper needs a day off, even if it means chaos for the rest of us. What's worse than office politics? Zombie office politics. At least with humans, you don't risk losing an arm in a disagreement. Imagine, if you will, an office where the water cooler conversations are less about who's getting the next promotion and more about who's got the tastiest brains. That's right, we're talking about a place where the phrase eating your way to the top takes on a whole new literal meaning. In this office, the backstabbing isn't just metaphorical, it's a very real threat, and it's not just a knife you need to worry about. No, in the world of zombie office politics, you need to watch out for those gnarly, decomposing fingers. They're always ready to give you a good poke in the ribs, and not in a friendly way. Lunch breaks, well, they're a whole different beast. Forget about your usual sandwich and coffee. Here, it's all about brain food, literally. You'd better hope you've got a good hiding spot for your grey matter, or you might find yourself on the menu, and let's not even get started on the Wi-Fi. It's slower than a zombie on a treadmill. The dead may not need sleep, but they sure do love their breaks. And their social media. You haven't known true horror until you've seen a zombie trying to update its status with rotting fingers. Of course, there are some perks. No need to worry about office dress code for one. Tattered clothes and exposed bones are all the rage. And forget about office gossip. It's hard to spread rumors when you can't speak, only groan. But remember, in this world of cutthroat, or rather bite-neck politics, you need to keep your wits about you. Because in a zombie office, it's not just your career that could end up dead. So the next time you're stuck in a meeting that seems to be dragging on forever, just be thankful you're not dealing with zombie office politics. Ever heard of a vegetarian vampire? They're called vegpires, and they're absolutely bloody awful at dinner parties. Now, imagine this. You're at a soiree, and there's a vampire in the corner sipping on a glass of tomato juice, trying to blend in. It's a tough life for these vegpires. They've swapped out their nightly jugular juice for a more plant-based diet, but let's face it, a glass of tomato juice at a dinner party screams, I'm trying too hard to fit in. And then there's the tofu situation. Tofu, the darling of the vegetarian world, right? Wrong. Tofu is to a vampire what garlic is to, well, a vampire. It's an absolute no-go. Have you ever seen a vampire trying to suck the juice out of tofu? It's like watching a cat trying to play the piano. Utterly hilarious, but downright pitiful. Now, some vegpires have tried to get around their dietary restrictions by turning to animal blood, but let's be real, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Picture a vampire chasing a cow around a field in the dead of night. Not exactly the image of suave sophistication we've come to expect from our blood-sucking friends, is it? And then there's the eternal struggle with vegetable juice. They say it's the closest thing to human blood, but let's be honest, it's just not the same. You can see the disappointment in their undead eyes. It's like offering a whiskey connoisseur a glass of apple juice and expecting them to be impressed. The life of a vegpire is fraught with challenges. They're trying to walk the line between their nature and their newfound dietary conscience, and it's not going well. It's a constant battle of the taste buds, a never-ending struggle of the senses. So if you meet a vampire who tells you they're vegetarian, maybe suggest a nice beetroot juice instead of a blood transfusion. Because let's face it, the vegpire life is no picnic. Why did the ghost go to the party? To add some spirit, and also to mess with the living, obviously. Now let's talk about the ghostly pranksters, those spectral troublemakers who take pleasure in creating chaos and confusion among the living. They're the ones who get a kick out of moving your keys when you're already late for work, or making that eerie creaking noise in the middle of the night, just when you're about to drift off to sleep. Take, for instance, the notorious spectre known as the Jangling Jenny. She was a bell ringer in her past life, and now she enjoys reminding everyone of her previous occupation by making sudden, inexplicable ringing sounds in your ears. Talk about a wake-up call. Then there's the Chill Bill, a ghost with a frosty sense of humor. This one likes to give people an unexpected shiver down their spine. You know those moments when you're minding your own business and out of nowhere you feel a sudden icy draft? That's Chill Bill, having a laugh at your expense. And who could forget the mischievous entity known as the Phantom Flicker? This prankster has a knack for messing with your lights, making them flicker and dim at the most inconvenient times. You're in the bathroom getting ready for a hot date, and suddenly you're plunged into darkness. Thanks a lot, Phantom Flicker. Of course, it's all in good fun. These spectral jesters don't mean any harm. They're just trying to bring a little levity to the afterlife. And hey, if they can give the living a good scare while they're at it, well, that's just the icing on the ethereal cake. So the next time you can't find your glasses, or you hear a strange bump in the night, don't panic. It's probably just your friendly neighborhood ghost getting a giggle. Remember, if you ever feel a cold breeze or hear a strange noise, it might just be a ghostly prankster trying to get a laugh. What's the difference between a unicorn and a carrot? One's a magical creature loved by all, and the other's a unicorn. Now, you might be thinking, wait, aren't unicorns those majestic, sparkly creatures that frolic in meadows and poop rainbows? Well, my friend, let's just say there's a bit more to these horned equines than meets the eye. Let's start with their sugar addiction. You know how they're always depicted with a rainbow mane, prancing around like they're on a sugar high? Well, they are. Unicorns have a sweet tooth that makes a toddler in a candy store look like a model of self-restraint. They'll do anything for a sugar cube. Anything. And then there's their, shall we say, pointy issue. Unicorns have this nasty habit of impaling things with their horns. It's not their fault, really. It's just that when you've got a sharp, pointy thing coming out of your forehead, it's hard not to stick it into things. Like your favorite teddy bear, or your car tire, or your brother-in-law. But perhaps the most shocking of all is their rainbow napping habit. Yes, you heard it right. Unicorns kidnap rainbows. They hoard them like a dragon hoards treasure. And you know what they do when they run out of rainbows? They make more by eating Skittles. It's a vicious cycle, really. So there you have it. The dark truth about unicorns. They're sugar-addicted, impaling rainbow nappers. Sure, they're pretty to look at, but beneath that sparkly exterior lies a creature that's more twisted than a licorice whip. So the next time you see a unicorn, remember, they're not all rainbows and sparkles. Some of them have a real dark side.